What's up, guys? This is a video called How to Start Your Own Business. I'm a multi-millionaire, young, 29 years old, internet entrepreneur. And that's the key word in this day and age is internet. Always have your ears open to opportunity. That is perhaps the most powerful thing, is to recognize opportunity. Recognize that the current systems that are making most people the most money are right at your fingertips. So utilize opportunities that you have. I personally run YouTube ads. I run Facebook ads. I don't run Google ads. Google ads is a thing of yesterday. You need to have a proper assumption on what is a good opportunity and what is sort of a lie. Back in 2015, Google ads were great. Things go out of style and then they come back in style. Pretty soon, Google ads will be back in style. And trust and believe, once I can make money or create impact with Google ads, I will. But as for right now, it's not efficient to run Google ads. I run YouTube ads to expand my audience on YouTube. I run Facebook ads to make an effective amount of money. I used to run Google ads. I run Pinterest ads. Have never worked for me. I never got too deep into Pinterest ads. It's like entrepreneurship is a trade. It's like if you're really willing to do whatever it takes, you can make a lot of money. But understand this, you're competing with 7 billion people. If I can understand one thing about my journey through entrepreneurship, it's not enough to be born in America. It's not enough to have Wi-Fi in a laptop. It's not enough to want it. But if you want it bad enough, you'll do whatever it takes to get it. That's the only thing you need to understand. And other than that, you have your starting point. I understand I might be talking to more seasoned entrepreneurs here as well, but this is more targeted to beginners. You have your point that you're at right now. And, you got to get to point Z, which is your lifetime goal. Let's say it's $100 million. I think that's a great goal to have. Anyone can make $100 million in a lifetime. It took me almost 10 years to make 10 million. You want to be efficient. So I could go make $2 million a year selling shit on the internet, drop shipping, or Amazon FBA. I choose to run real businesses because I've achieved my version of financial freedom. The only thing I will give you guys the end goal. This is like a linear sequence of logic that occurs to most of us who achieve financial freedom. Is like, I just don't want to slide backward. The more money I make is more cushion under my pushing, so that I don't have to be broke ever again. And it's not about having an overflow excess of wealth that you just have useless paper stacking up. I think there's a spiritual principle that goes way back to the biblical days of greed. You want an appropriate amount of money. You don't want an excess abundance of bullshit money. I am an entrepreneur because I play the game of becoming a champion. It's not about the money. I could give away every penny I make beyond this point, and I will. When I die, I'm only leaving 33% of my money to my family. 33% goes to charities, and 33% goes to probably other people's businesses, because that's how I operate. I keep 33% of my net worth. This is my plan anyways. Things don't always go according to plan, but that's another story for another day. I keep 33% of my net worth in my own businesses. I put 33% into other people's businesses. and I give 33% straight away to charity. That's after I pay my taxes. If you were given the world in the palm of your hands, what would you do? Would you sit there while everyone else suffered? If you have the power to change the world for the better, you would do it, wouldn't you? Well, I think that's a construct of humanity, is when you make so much money that you never need to worry about money ever again, you kind of just start giving stuff away. Because you realize the futility of having money. It could all be gone tomorrow. So while it's here, I want to make as big of an impact as possible. And I'm given the gift to do that through my career in entrepreneurship. I play the game of entrepreneurship to become one of the greatest of all time. Not only was I born into a privileged life of being handed a laptop and an internet connection, an opportunity, but I take some old school hustle and apply it to the modern era of getting things done. And that's it, is like, when all is said and done, people are money. People are money. Just like you want to earn, divine favor and a divine presence, you also want to have people that have your back. And that's what charity is all about. So I keep 33% of my money in my business. If my business goes down, I go down with the ship. But I'm not stupid enough to commit to basically failure. I am 100%. I anticipate that my business will fail again in my lifetime. That's why I have investments to restart. My ambitions are really quite modest. When you're a beginner entrepreneur, you think that you want all this money to just go and spend and waste. Me personally, I love spending money. Some people don't like spending money. That's the whole reason why I make all this money. It's because I love spending money. It's a perfect storm. Born in the age of the internet, I could make 10K a day with drop shipping. I could make 10K a day with Amazon FBA. Business is a path to manhood. We're all men, right? Whether you're a woman or a man, we're all men. We're all humans. We're all men. Women are a little bit more complicated. And yes, I respect women. I know the stigma that the man's trying to hold down the woman. I understand something, that women ruled the world once, and they could rule the world again. So I'm all about gaining the favor. Is almost like being rich. Is like every day I have to face the world and explain to the world why I should be rich while some people struggle. And we're in a time where each one of us has a vote to make a dent in the world of poverty. And I will never give up. As long as there's a hungry kid in the world, I will never give up entrepreneurship if I could continue to make an impact with work that I'm given a human body with endorphins. And that to me gives me adrenaline to serve the world in the best way I can. It's almost kind of like being saved by Christ. The sacrifice that Christ committed. I am a Christian, but I'm not going to shove Christianity down your throat. Christ is undeniable, no matter which religion you come from, and I think every religion can recognize Christ. But it's almost like being saved by Christ is like Christ was willing to commit any sacrifice to save the world, and we're far beyond the big, the birth of Christ. This is kind of like the final form of the universe here. But being given the gift to give to charity is a gift from Christ. And I'm kind of in the final form of the eternity of Christianity. You have Islamic, you have like 13 or 14 different religions that is like as above, so below. So they call me, my name is, in the streets, is Money. They call me Money. My middle name is Money. At least my middle name is like synonymous with money. So is like I build muscle to pay justice to the body that God gave me. I make money. Of course, I'm a little bit selfish. I make the money for myself first. Let's not fool ourselves here. As much as we love our family, and as much as we would go hungry for our family, I think the human condition is like, if I don't have to starve to death for another human, it's always like, if it comes down to you versus me, I'm going to do whatever I can to win. And that's maybe not true when it comes to certain people, our best friends and our families, and is like, understand that we love each other. I think in the deepest part of our heart, we all love each other. But when you become an entrepreneur, you have to face the rest of the world who are really willing to do anything to be rich, and explain to them why you deserve to have the privilege to work harder than them, sacrifice more than them. And becoming rich is not a given. It's like you have to prove yourself time and time again. And for me, I have infinite abundance right now. I continue to build businesses as just for sport, because I am a champion. I'm a real champion. I'm one of the best ever, if not the greatest of all time entrepreneur. Probably one of the top 100 without a doubt. And born into a perfect storm, I take advantage of every opportunity and I think privilege is a dirty word. I don't take anything for granted, but being born into a world where by the time I was 10 years old, we had high-speed internet in the house. I remember seeing people making $30K a month on the internet placing ads when I was 5 or 6 years old. That was the dream back then. Now, if you're making less than $10K a day, you're like a loser. So I will not go down as a fucking loser. I will go down as a winner. And that's what entrepreneurship is really about. I mean, that's what I represent. It's undeniable that we want to make money to have money. That's step number one. But then what decides someone who just wants to make money from a champion is continuing to build things and provide value to society and become, better on the high scores, is your commitment to entrepreneurship after the fact. So whether if you want to play entrepreneurship for sport, or if you want to just make money to have money, there's nothing wrong with that either. I didn't have a dad growing up, so to me, building successful businesses, just like how a lot of men join the military. A lot of men even want to go to prison because they think it'll make a man out of them. I would do anything to show the world that I am a real man. Even to ascend beyond the level of being considered a human. That's the end goal. And entrepreneurship is the only way for me. I remember growing up and I had friends that said, you have to have people that own businesses, and you have to have people that work for people that own businesses. And I would say, I want to be the one that owns businesses. And then my friends would say, I want to be an employee. Doesn't make sense to me. I can't relate, Call it a God complex, call it a royalty complex, entitled. I'm not entitled. I think that's a dirty word. But call it whatever you want. I would rather make $1 a day working for myself than make $1,000 a day working for someone else. And if you have that type of mentality, I think you have what it takes to be a champion. And the reason why we want to be entrepreneurs, number one, is to have money. So whether if you're a champion or not, don't talk shit about people who just want money. Because that's how it all starts. We just want money. Elon Musk lives in a tiny house. Mark Zuckerberg wears the same t-shirt, the same color t-shirt every day. You know, if you want to be richer than me, you have to face me and tell me why you deserve to be richer than me. And I'm like the bar. You know, I'm like beyond the bar. It's like the more money I make is like another rank on the high scores. But it's not just about having useless money. It's that when I die, I'm going to give, half my stuff away to the world to impact the world of poverty just one more time and be recognized as someone who really contributed. But let's not fool ourselves here. I don't fool myself to think that, oh, I'm just so selfless. I'm like Jesus. Just want to contribute. Hell no, man. I mean, keep it real with yourself. Keep it real with yourself. If you have that kind of complex that you really just want to help the world, it may be because you never experienced an honest, hard day of poverty in your life. For me, clawing my way through the system of entrepreneurship was all about, like, I never want to be broke ever again. And I was in my second semester of college when I decided, like, I never want to follow the status quo. I want to be excellent. I want to represent excellence. And I'm not going to follow in the footsteps of people that, quite frankly, I didn't quite respect. Everyone has my conditional love, but not everyone has my respect. I've worked for businesses where the CEO of the business would just sit on the beach and drink margaritas while I was fucking washing dishes. That made me so mad when I was 17 years old that I literally just wanted to leave and just, like, whatever it took, I would make my way out of there. And of course, in my mind, it was like, whenever I start my own business, that's not how I'm going to be. I will be the hardest worker in my business to pay respect to the fact that I have people. I believe in a 4-hour workday, 3 days a week. That's what I believe in. I think everyone should have to contribute something. But Henry Ford invented the 40-hour work week. A fly just flew in my face. Henry Ford invented the 40-hour work week, and Henry Ford is someone that I respect. And that system was convenient for the time, but I think it's time to reinvent and re-innovate the system of employment so that people aren't basically wasting their life. It was convenient for the time, but it's not optimal anymore. I believe in a 4-hour per day, 3 days per week work week for everyone in the world, because everyone should have to contribute something, but no one should have to work 40 hours a week just to get by. So it's these types of things that you become privileged with the power to have a say-so in the world, and that is an earned thing. First, you have to understand what money really is. It equals freedom to do all the things you need and want. And it's not about being better than anyone. It's about living your best life. So anyways, I want to give a shout out to Project Life Mastery. Leo from actualize.org. Drake for making amazing music. Jay-Z for making amazing music. Kanye West for making amazing music. Rob Bailey and the Hustle Standard for inspiring the big. I remember I was living in my car listening to Rob Bailey and the Hustle Standard when I was put out of the house for dropping out of college to pursue my career in entrepreneurship. Talk about someone who didn't have anyone to believe in him. When I made my first $1 million, the first thing that happened was they literally kicked me out of the house. No, wait, sorry. First thing I did when I became an entrepreneur was they literally kicked me out of the house because they thought I had gone crazy. They just wanted to see, first thing that happened when I made my first $1 million was I called my family. I told them I'm a millionaire now. And they said, no, you're not. They literally didn't believe it. Like, bold face, I'm a millionaire. And they say, I don't believe it. I haven't seen anything come out of this business thing that you've been doing. and like is a level of insanity. It takes a level of insanity to be an entrepreneur, but the level of insanity that I see in the world since I've gotten some common sense, entrepreneurship, I think if you have like is for me was like, are you willing to do whatever it takes to be rich? Common sense answer for me is yes, of course I am. If it takes me 20 years, if I have to live in a fucking puddle for 20 years and be homeless and go through all these struggles and live like poverty for 25 years to make a few $1,000,000, I will do anything to live my latter years as a rich man. You know, people inject steroids into their body in bodybuilding. Rest in peace to my friend Rich Piana. You know, finally, all the years of steroid abuse caught up with him, and he died. He dropped dead from steroid abuse. Is like this 5%er club that I sort of have taken the wheel of to represent in the name of Rich Piana. This like 5%er club. I'm a 1%er myself, but if you're a 5%er, and you intentionally became good at life and achieve your goals and have discipline to do what you got to do to be a high functioning person and to make the sacrifices, you know, you've earned my respect. So to be like a 5%er, that's what Rich Piana represented. I might be a 1%er, but I'll always be a 5%er. Comes the time to be a leader, comes the time to be a follower. You know, we're all a family here. That's what Rich Piana represented in entrepreneurship in a big way. Just like any one of us would step on each other's head to gain an advantage over someone else. In bodybuilding, you might stand on stage with your competition and hope that you win, but in a big way, we are all friends here. You know, we have a common interest in creating the best life that we possibly can for ourselves. And I think the love that we have for each other is somewhat undeniable. I want to give a shout out to some of my idols, Kim Kardashian, even though, you know, Kanye is an idol of mine as well. I respect Kim Kardashian. You know, whatever happened between them is none of my business. I'm still a fan of both of them. Who can I give a shout out to? Like, I don't know any of these people personally, but let's just say we almost are kind of friends that have never met before, you know. Let's see if I could just find anyone on my Instagram. I don't follow anybody for the sake of being their fan. I want to give a shout out first to my cousin Sino, my cousin Chloe, my brother Alex and Jacob. You know, of course I want to give a shout out to God, you know. He is definitely the best. I want to give a shout out to Ty Lopez. I consider myself the king of that drop out of college video that Ty Lopez made. Spoke like directly to me. That January 23rd, I first fathomed the concept of dropping out of college to pursue a career in entrepreneurship. I believe that was the same day that I stumbled across that Ty Lopez video saying that you should drop out of college if you want to be rich. And if it wasn't for that video, I never would have fully made the decision to drop out of college. So that's a crazy thing, is on the way to your grand destiny, people will literally die in the name of your success. And it's not some kind of entitled bullshit. I've lost people in my life that would have otherwise gotten in the way of my success. So it's not to say that I'm fucking spoiled, that God would take someone's life for me to make a little bit of money. It's to say, like, now I have to pay respect to their life so their death wasn't in vain. And that's not me being a boss. That's just me being like a fucking God-fearing man. Like the same thing could have happened to me, but if it wasn't for me being in proper circumstances to be a greatest of all time individual, you know, it makes me feel a little bit entitled. Maybe I'm spoiled. But it's like, in the same sense that I want to pay respect to my journey, and part of that is paying respect to the people that, and all the people, the thousands and millions of people who just move out of my way so that I could live my grand destiny. And in their name, to raise the bottom line of poverty in the world. It's not for me, it's for them. You know, it's kind of like I'm just the guy at the computer pushing all the buttons, making money happen. But it's more or less their, like, entitlement, you know. It's like for them, you know. This Christmas, I'm donating some money to the Greater Cleveland Food Bank in the name of my friend Jacob Hubbard, who died from COVID-19. In a way, if I didn't lose certain people in my life, I never would have grown to appreciate my life. My friend Ryan Horn, who was one of my best friends, died in a motorcycle accident like 7 or 8 or 10 years ago or something. Was another person who I can't help but feel like his death enabled me to become more successful. And that to me is like crazy, because the universe anyways, and the construct of destiny is like this symphony that works in accordance with everything else. And God, it all works for God and old souls. You know, it's kind of like a seniority thing. I'm just a really old soul, so the universe tends to work in accordance with my destiny. But it's not my input that makes things happen. Every now and then I'm presented with a choice, like, what do you want to do? Like the other couple months ago, I had to make a choice, like, what are you going to do for the next 2 to 5 to 15 years? Is like, do you want to raise the bar, or do you just want to be comfortable with the life you have? And of course, I want to raise the bar. You know, I want to be a champion. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. And I've seen struggle. I don't want to have to make that choice, but if I'm given the choice, I will choose to be better. You know, the concept of destroying to rebuild is something that I've done time and time again. It's almost unfathomable that I could just like level myself out in 10 years to become like that final 1% better. If that's what I had to do, I would do it. But if I don't have to, then of course I won't, because I've had a hard life, guys. I won't let no one downplay it. Business is just one part of life to be an efficient human. Keep in mind, I work 14 hours a day. The only thing I do that isn't work is I sleep. It's literally it. Today is Sunday. Children, cover your eyeballs. Every Sunday I drink a bottle of wine in celebration of God's victory. And today is Sunday. Christmas is coming up. So, at the end of the day, you're promised, like, the final form of Christianity is pretty much me. I am like the best life. It's a computer in the sky where you decide where you're going after this, and once you've done everything that there is to do, you get to be me. And I am not, like, from what I understand, I might be, you know, whatever you see happen in my life is like a quality standard, but nothing is like, you have choices. is a difference. Most people don't have choices. And if you have to choose one thing, do what's best for you, because I'm always going to do what's best for me. Number one thing in life is you got to have money. And that's why you should perhaps dabble in entrepreneurship or start your own business. My breakfast is done. I drank 2 cases of Red Bull for my breakfast today. Always sugar-free on an empty stomach, because if you drink sugar-filled beverages like soda and energy drinks on an empty stomach, it could cause like a negative insulin response that could actually cause diabetes. You always want to drink good wine, spend the extra $10 on a good bottle of wine. I drink a bottle of wine every Sunday. If you want to be an entrepreneur, go for it, but 90% of people are going to be in and out. I recognize I'm not imposing this on anybody, but you have to recognize that, some people play entrepreneurship to be champions like me. Some people play entrepreneurship to just get money, and actually it's in moments of pain when you decide to persevere forward. That's when you make it to be a champion like Arnold. If I could just be a little bit better than Arnold, that's how I know I've made it. If I could in some way be just like Arnold and succeed in everything that I want to do, and succeed in everything that matters to me, and be number one at everything that matters to me, at some point or another, to just add these trophies to my trophy case, that at some point in time I was the best at these things. I want to be the best at internet entrepreneurship, even if only for a blink in the eyes of the destiny of planet Earth. If I could find that place for just one blink of an eye to be the best at internet entrepreneurship, that's how I know I've won. And this is definitely not selling you a dream. I make this shit look easy because I have a lot of leverage, because I'm very intelligent. Intelligent and smart are the ultimate key to success. This is creatine. I googled it. It is safe to ingest this stuff intranasally or to snort it. And it gives me like a 10% advantage. And it burns like hell. And I don't really want to do it, but I do it anyways, just like everyone wants to get drunk, but don't nobody want to drink alcohol. Everyone wants to be successful, but don't nobody want to snort a kilo of creatine like I do. Shout out to one of the most successful internet entrepreneur companies, Bulk Supplements. This is where I get my creatine from. You can buy this stuff at Walmart. 6-star brand creatine, 6-star brand testosterone boosters. And of course, I got my Chipotle burrito on deck. It's the only food that I could eat every day and never get sick of it, except for steak. Steak, Chipotle, and protein shakes. Oddly enough, are 3 foods that I could eat every day and not get sick of it. Let's see. The goal, the real dream of modern entrepreneurship is not to just get in and get out and escape with all this money, because the futility of having money is like, it could be here today and gone tomorrow. So the real dream that I have, that I will give to you guys to prove that creating competition is not an issue. It all falls down to how hard you're willing to work in alignment with what your spiritual bank account balance is. I want to be one of the top 12 companies still standing in 20 years on the internet. I want to be one of the top 20, top 10, in 25 years I'll be one of the businesses that persevered through all of the people who are internet and will be internet entrepreneurs to be one of the best in 25 years. Internet entrepreneurship is really still in its infancy. This is magnesium and testosterone boosters I'm taking. Is like financial success is a long-term thing. I've learned through years of watching people come and go to and from the game. Mike Tyson made $500 million in the beginning of his life and had today, before the Jake Paul fight, my understanding, shout out to Mike Tyson, my name is Michael as well, but I ain't no punk ass white boy. That hurt my heart, man. That the young Mike Tyson was racist. Because I'm not racist. But I'll tell you this much, I am white, but I'm not a punk ass white boy that Mike Tyson would call a punk ass white boy. I think we as sort of sons of God, people named David and Daniel and Gabriel and Michael and Christopher is real, recognized real. I think Mike Tyson would never call me a punk ass white boy because would never be a punk ass white boy. I'm a soul, baby. I'm a soul. I'm not any color. But since I am white, I better take advantage of the fact that I'm white and probably be the best at business or something. Just Tyson was the best at boxing. Jordan was the best at basketball. I think it's really cool that Michael is kind of a universal name. I'm not racist, but at some point in the not so distant future, people are going to wake up to the fact that when we're kind of all the same color, when we're all tan or bronze, we'll realize that we're really more alike than we are different. And racism is a flaw in logic, if you ask me. I think love is a universal truth that we all have for each other, and stop picking on people because I pick on people if they're ignorant. I don't pick on people because of things that they can't control, Just I didn't choose to be born without a father, but I chose to prove myself as a man through entrepreneurship. I didn't choose to be born as a white guy, but I take advantage, and we can't pretend racial privileges don't exist. I think every race has some sort of privilege that you need to take advantage of. That's not being racist, that's just playing the game smart. If you're African American, take advantage of the fact that you don't have to work if you don't want to. If you want to, you could go on welfare. It's white people like me that made the promise that we were going to commit to a lifetime of servitude to remain the top in this country. If you didn't know, if dumb motherfuckers that do not know, the general in the military is black. And many handshake agreements happened to give us all equal rights up here at the top. That's why intelligence is so important, is because in school they could feed you a bunch of bullshit and false information, but instead they make us aware of culture so we understand how to respect each other, not to fucking be racist. It's to say how would you feel if you had to me? Slavery has happened worldwide for the past beginning of time. I come from slavery as well. I come from famine. I come from a spiritual background. I can trace my roots back to Africa. Both sides. It's culture is taught in schools, I think, because we are supposed to respect each other. And I'm not in the government or nothing, but I'm happy that I wasn't born into slavery or something. And if you're black and if you're upset just because I'm white, I will tell you that's racist. And I will tell you that what you're really looking at when it comes to African American culture, that I want people to know worldwide, where we come from in America, is what we're really looking at is like a very small peek in the eyes of the history of America, that people were mistreated. And you can't even really call it mistreatment. Modern employment is almost like an evolved version of slavery. And it was, I come from a union state, Ohio, I don't, we very quick, as a white guy, I have to speak on behalf of white people to say that we very quickly realized that slavery is bullshit and no one should be a fucking slave. But we worked with the resources we had at the time, and now we have a system of employment that has people working 40 hours a week, which, am I not the only person that realizes that's fucking bullshit? I have best friends that I grew up with that are like employees. In my business, I hire 4-hour work days. The 40-hour work week was invented by Henry Ford. It was convenient for the control mechanisms of the time to have people at work. That's what I believe. I'm not like a fucking, is my understanding as kind of, I am an employer, so I guess I have a little bit of say-so in what it means. I've seen both sides. I know what it's like to work 40 hours for just to get by, and that's bullshit. And if we can all agree on one thing, is money and financial well-being, so I don't think anyone should have to work 40 hours. If I could be the president for a day and do one thing, is make it like 4 hours a day, 3 days a week, because everyone should have to contribute something. And when you contribute something, you're entitled to, your pride complex that you contribute something to the world, so you really belong here. And if you don't work, you're not allowed to talk shit to someone who does work. But no one should feel smaller than anyone else. That's why everyone should have to work a little bit and contribute something a little bit, but not to work your damn life for just to get by, That's about the only input I feel entitled to have. Is I'm not working 40 hours a week, I'll tell you that much. Maybe to build my own business, but not to be a fucking employee. Tell you how many kilograms of creatine I would rather snort, and how much black coffee I would rather drink, and how much bottles of wine on Sundays that I would rather drink than work my life just for a 3-bedroom house. I mean, if you have a 3-bedroom house, it's no disrespect, but that wouldn't do justice to my dreams. I gotta have a big house. It's the only thing that will satisfy me. And I think most people should just keep their opinions out of politics. But in the streets, they call me money. And if there's one thing that I could speak on behalf of all people, is that no money, no funny. Don't play games with my fucking money. I would rather you play games with my fucking life than play games with my fucking money. If I can't have money, I'd rather die. Give me liberty or give me death. This is the kind of wine I'm drinking. This is called Liberty Creek. I love the word liberty. It's a foundational principle of the United States. You know, very important that we don't misunderstand culture or misinterpret culture to think that any one of us is better than anyone else. Kind of the principles that America was built on is even in the government, everyone has a vote, And you want to reach a point if you live in America. If you don't live in America, this is kind of how we see things in America is you earn your vote, and wisdom comes with age. Turn your ears to the streets to realize the truth. Don't just listen to what they say on TV. That is just to guide us in a direction. Turn your ears to your fellow man at McDonald's when you order your Big Mac from McDonald's to find out the truth of how we really love each other, not to accept, to have misinterpretations. It's called I live in Cleveland. Is 30% black. It's 20% white. Is 10%, Hispanic. I live in a diverse community, and I'm welcome here. I also grew up in a white community, 2 white communities. And the black people there were treated like kings and queens. The whole maybe dozen or 2 dozen black people that we had in our city were treated with utmost respect. That's why I say you're entitled to stand up for yourself, but you're not entitled to mistreat someone else because of your misinterpretation. I think that's why they say wisdom comes with age, and that's what makes America a great country is we all have the chance to fuck up when we're young, but by the time you're 25 or 30 and you spent your life dealing with people, you have then you realize the truth, and you won't be racist, and you won't be a bad person because you realize the truth. And the only thing that matters is God, and God loves everybody. So some people are just ignorant. That's why I have more of a say-so than the average bear, because I'm very logical. And God would not give power to someone unjustly. That's why power is bestowed. That's why government is just... The government, as I understand it, is just like a manifestation of God. People with power in this country are bestowed power by God, because God doesn't play games when it comes to things like national security. So in America, we earn our vote, and you're given the privilege that you will be 18 years old someday and have the chance to see the world for what it really is. And if you want to be a champion, to be good at life, first thing you got to take care of in life is your money situation. You want to go to college, become an entrepreneur. If you have a pride complex, you might want to be an entrepreneur. If you want to just do well, maybe go to college. If you want to take the risk of, maybe having a bad life, pursue a career with just a high school education. One thing that sounds good in every language is money. You gotta get your money up, be a contributing member of God in your community, and that's it.